Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys today about what to bring to an appointment with a seller. So typically when you're working direct to seller, and even if you're working with a wholesaler for the first time, you want to make sure that they understand that you are a true buyer that's willing and able to close on their deal. So essentially have credibility. Even if you're going to wholesale it, you want to at least be presentable, right? And so I'm going to talk through how we in our office, in our operation, prepare for those in-person appointments and also what you should do if you're doing this virtually. Now, we run a hybrid model in my office. So most of our deals, probably not quite 80, probably about 60% of the deals that we do over the phone. But in a very competitive market like I'm in Houston, although you could buy deals over the phone and we've done it, if we just can get a hell yes from the seller over the phone, we still want to go to the appointment and meet with them. So with that said, let's go through the checklist of what are the things to take with you to any appointment, including if you're meeting with a wholesaler. So the first thing we want to make sure that we take with us is the lowest comps. The lowest comps is going to help you, kind of a back pocket tool, so that you don't come across not only as a low baller, but hey, I got my facts straight. Here are three comps that I have in case they have unrealistic expectations. Now, keep in mind, if you just have an unrealistic seller, hopefully you've screened them out over the phone before even going to the appointment for sure. So we shouldn't be meeting with unrealistic sellers that we can pre-screen over the phone. Okay. That is just a waste of time, gas, money, and you're just, harming global, warm climates, whatever that is. So bottom line, you want to bring with you lower comps. Now, you might have a very savvy seller that says, hey, this other house, sold for this much. Then you might say, okay, I understand that. Do you have that comp? I mean, do you have that MLS data? I'd love to see it. This is just what my funding department gave me. And that's what I have to go with. So while I agree, yeah, we could possibly, maybe sell it for that much. Did you see the condition of that house? I mean, they spent $60,000 on that property. Well, we're just trying to make sure that when we list it, we can actually resell it quickly. So that's one way to attack that. The second piece you want to bring with you is proof of funds. Now, if you're going to be entering into this business, you do need other people's money. And so that could be a hard money lender. That could be another more senior flipper, house buyer, partner of yours that you exchange business with, and you tell them, hey, do you have proof of funds that we can share the resource with? Or you can just tell them, hey, I work with a group of investors from different backgrounds. And so, I'm just here as the field rep, visiting on their behalf, making sure that this deal would make sense. If we get close to a negotiation and you need proof of funds, then we'll provide that to you. So you definitely need to bring proof of funds, whether that's private money, hard money, line of credit. Just have that available, because that could mean the difference between they believing in you and working with you and knowing and liking and trusting you, versus kind of a guy off the street that just came off of a 3-day seminar that doesn't have one, right? So you want to come off strong and being able to execute. The third piece, which I love to do when I am at the kitchen table with sellers and I'm about to figure out if it makes sense to present an offer or not, is I leave them the contract in blank while I'm at the car. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for showing me the property around. I'm going to leave you with this buy packet folder. Let me show you guys what it looks like in our office. So right here, we just have a folder. And what I do is actually bring a pre-populated contract already with the next steps explained is what we do. So we just take the seller mentally on their own journey to review the actual contract. And so by the time I come back from the truck or the car, wherever I'm putting my final numbers together, and I've had that conversation with them, they've read through the contract. And guess what? I'm going to come back and say, hey, did you read through the contract? Did you read through our next steps process on how that closing might happen. Um, do you understand that? Do you have any questions, right? Also, if you have testimonials, I'll plug them in there. And then obviously the proof of funds as well. So I bring that to have them mentally and emotionally already kind of be moving on, right? By the time I come back, and they've read the contract, at least they've glanced to it. I want to make sure that that is not an objection. That when I come back and we talk and figure out what would make sense for both parties and, have final negotiations, that the contract is not the issue. And so I am, leaving them with what we call a buy packet. We just come and say, hey, I'd like Mr. and Ms. Sutter, I'd like for you guys to review this. It has our actual purchase and sales agreement in there, our language, so you can review it, make sure they understand. Also, I have here some testimonials, proof of funds, the next steps for the actual closing, what will happen before, after, next, all of that stuff. So take a look at that, read through it, make sure, that if you have any questions, line them up. And when I come back, I want to make sure that we address those for you, make sure that we have a good conversation. So with that said, that is the buy packet that we have. And something I forgot to mention is kind of a spreadsheet with line items and costs of what, typical costs are for different things. I do keep that in my back pocket. I don't offer it, so I don't leave it with them, but I do keep that on my back pocket in case I notice that, hey, the seller might be unrealistic on repairs, and we just have to have that repair conversation. Like, listen, I understand that you're a handyman, you've been in construction for 30 years. I got to pay my guys and I got to pay for the material. And so, our costs are just simply our costs. And, they might be a little bit more competitive than retail, but, in reality, we can't get quality workmanship done for cheap labor, right? So if you found that useful, click the link below. I will send you a template of my buy packet. So you can check it out and maybe hopefully build yours, and it helps you with any future appointments that you have. And if you're just doing this virtually, you want to make sure that you have that